All right, good morning, everyone. That's right, I am masked up. First of all, I want to thank those individuals who liked the stream before it started. That is always helpful. And that's always cool because it means someone is looking for the content. Good morning, Wayne. Oop, mute that. All right, so whoever else is there, welcome. Please let me know who's there in the chat. So today we're going to talk about the bug. Is the bug coming back? It's going to be a brief discussion. I have a short piece I'm going to read. I promise it's short, and then I'm going to wrap this stream up because I'm actually doing a double header. What's going on, Sheet? Because I'm actually doing a double header. Me and my brother on my entertainment and media channel. We're gonna be late, but we're gonna talk about the Blue Beetle movie. So I'm not gonna be on here long. Let me share this over on my original channel, and then I'll start this one up. By the way, I did watch the at least most of your follow up to our discussion on Thursday about money. Thank you for the collab, and thank you for sharing that over on your channel as well. Guys, these are the masks that I wore during the event. I never wore the I'm hearing the buzz. That means you're hearing about the bug coming back. Let's see. Okay, so this was shared over there. All right. So, am I going to wear this accessory for the entire stream? No, I'm not going to wear it for the entire stream. Let me take it off. I thought I'd have some fun this morning. That was for effect. All right, guys, I'm going to play my short intro, and then I'm going to start this thing, and then wrap it up, hopefully within an hour.
So Anwar, I see you have the periodic tables on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that all about? Why are you walking around with a chemistry chart on your chest?
Well, Cheryl, so this channel is a STEM channel. So when I was conceiving of it and figuring out how to grow it, I figured I should have some T-shirts to go with it. So the periodic table is critical to most of the scientific fields.
Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology are all around us all of the time, and there are always science and technology stories to tell. There are always science and technology stories to tell. First of all, I want to thank everyone who continues to support this channel, whether it be with eyeballs or likes or views, or in some instances, donations. I really, really appreciate that. I was telling Sheed and Alonzo, I think it was Wednesday night, you have the YouTube app and then you have the YouTube Studio app. And I think the Studio app gives you real-time data. And Wednesday night, I lost 6 subscribers. Okay. And I was like, wait a minute. how did I lose 6 subscribers that fast, that quickly? And then I complained to Sheed and Alonzo, and then I went to bed Wednesday night, and I woke up and my 6 subscribers were back. So I don't know what this is or how this works, but I think there's something about this that it's constantly adjusting your subscriber base. I don't know why, but that's what happens. So I want to thank everyone who continues to support here, and please share this content out. Science and technology stories are all around us, and those include things like the bug. I'm going to use a lot of synonyms today because I don't want this taken down, and you guys know the story of this channel being taken down. But I'm going to use a lot of synonyms today. But science and technology stories are all around us, whether it's the bug, whether it's DHEA and geriatric pregnancies, or machine learning, or automation, or something NASA related, or the IoT or 5G. Science and technology stories are all around us, and they are all fair game. So the question may come, why is Dr. Dunbar talking about freezing eggs? Why is Dr. Dunbar talking about male biological clocks and freezing sperm? Why is Dr. Dunbar talking about this or that? Well, if it's a science story, if it's under that umbrella, it's fair game here on my channel. So with that, everyone, welcome back to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. And also, everyone, please share this content out. I believe right now most of my subscriber base is melanated, and we have images of everything else: athletes and entertainers, politicians, clergymen, clergywomen, but we have few images of STEM professionals and people knowledgeable on these topics. So it would help me out, and I think it would help our whole group out in this country if content like this, with a content creator like me, I'm not saying this out of vanity, if this content got shared out. So the further I go along in this content creation journey, I'm seeing the importance of the content being shared and not just staying in its own silo. Okay, so the question is today, is it back? I've been hearing stories about it. I've seen stories about a new immunization coming out. So there's a new immunization that's on the verge of being approved. Were any of you immunized on the last round? Well, initially, and then in terms of getting boosted, were any of you immunized? I took the J&J initially, which they eventually decommissioned, and which they eventually did not support. And then I got boosted with the mRNA varieties. So let me know in the chat there if you all took any of those, or if you all dug your heels in and protested and said, no, I don't trust it. I'm not taking anything. Let's see. I'm going to pull up 2 images here before I get to the article, because as a science and technology channel, we should always learn something here for our general edifications. Let's see if I could find it really, really quickly. Let's see. I'll take these 3. I know that some places of employment mandated that workers get immunized, right? I know that the church I attend sometimes here, when they opened up live services, they were checking for immunizations. And so that was a very big deal. but there were people who were again protesting and saying, no, I'm not taking that. There's one slide I'm looking for here, and once I find it, I'll go ahead and start. Oh, here we go. So when we're talking about viruses and microbes and bacteria, eukaryotes, gram negative, gram positive, syphilis, and increased incidences of syphilis in Houston and other metropolitan areas. What we're talking about is microbiology. So that's the biology of tiny organisms. And I thought this was a cool slide to show because a colleague, well, someone I interviewed on my original channel, I don't think we talked about it live, but afterwards we talked about it, and she conflated a bacteria with a virus. So be suspicious when a doctor prescribes an antibiotic for a viral infection. Okay, antibiotics should be for bacterial infections, and viral medications should be for viral infections. So bacteria and viruses are different. A bacteria is technically alive, right? And a virus is not alive. A virus, it doesn't consume food. A virus doesn't reproduce the way that a bacteria does or a living cell does. A virus, it attacks or infiltrates a living cell. Let me see if I have a picture here. I promise I'm going to get right to the content, the article shortly, but this is good to know. This is a good depiction of it. Yeah, here's a good picture of a viral replication cycle. So a virus is not alive. What it does is it attacks a host cell. It takes over the machinery in that cell. It hijacks the machinery, and then it causes that cell it infiltrates to start generating more viral particles. And then in a classic sense, that cell then bursts open, and then there are more viral particles that spread throughout the body or whatever the target cell is to reproduce. So it's not, viruses technically aren't living, bacteria are. But also, the cool thing about the slide is it shows the size of a red blood cell versus a bacterium versus viral particles. So if you look at those, these are orders of magnitude different. So a red blood cell is roughly 8,000 nanometers in diameter or length. A bacteria is 4 times smaller than a red blood cell at 2,000 nanometers. A lysosome, that's an organelle inside of an animal cell, and I think a plant cell too, that's 100 to 1,200 nanometers. The influenza virus is 80 to 120 nanometers. The HIV virus is 90 to 160 nanometers. And our current bug of interest, the bug, is 60 to 140 nanometers. So viruses and bacteria have different properties, and one of the major ones is size. And bacteria are alive, viruses are not. Okay. A few more review terms here. Let's see. Cubert Rain has an interesting comment here. He says, I wish I didn't get the immunization. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people were kind of coerced, or highly encouraged by employers to do it. So a lot of people had to do it. Aquateki says, I did two J&Js and nothing since. Okay. Let's see. Telling Stewart says, I'm not going to trust an industry that has historically proven itself to be untrustworthy. Yeah, so some of the speculation and reports in the aftermath of that phase of this thing have suggested that there was a huge financial stake for the pharmaceutical companies in this whole thing. So, and once again, YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm not rendering health care advice in this stream. Okay, so let's see. AB Media says, thank you for stopping through, AB Media. He says, I just got the first two, nothing else. Okay, you guys notice I'm intentionally omitting words because this topic, at least it was highly policed by the YouTube Politburo. Okay, a few more pictures, then I'll jump into the piece and then I'll wrap up. Okay. Let's see. This cartoon, I created content on this. YouTube didn't remove these videos, so these are in my library. So this cartoon shows how antibodies work. So what in immunization, there was a lot of debate over whether the immunizations would prevent infection, and from a mechanistic standpoint, an immunization will not prevent you coming in contact with the contagion. What it does is it improves your body's ability to fight the contagion by generation of an antibody. So this cartoon shows an antibody binding to the antigen, which in this instance was the spike protein. This shows mutation over time. You see that the genetic material inside that particle has altered, has changed, as evidenced by that purple DNA strand. And once that genetic material changes, the spike protein changes, and your antibodies can't protect you as well against that contagion, and your immunization is no longer effective. So once that mutation occurs, the immunization becomes less effective, which is why they wanted as many people immunized as possible. Okay, this shows that over time, contagions can change. That's called antigenic drift or antigenic shift. No, I think there's a difference between drift and shift, but over time, these things can change as well. So they can mutate and they can change. This cartoon is showing that different viruses, this is showing that different viruses can mutate at different rates. So some mutate faster and some mutate slower. Okay. And this cartoon is showing that once two viruses infect the same host cell, those can give rise in an additive way or a cumulative way. I think that's probably the right term to use. Any microbiologists watching this, please correct me, but they can infect the same host cell and then give rise to a new type of viral particle. Okay, so this is all review. I have videos about this in my library if you want to check those out. So let me jump into this piece now because like I said, I have a full morning and I want to get out and go to the gym also later on. So I found this piece. This is from CBS. I promise this is short, but it gets to what's going on now and the fact that there is renewed concern amongst some people for this. And as you walk around, there's Gail covering this. There are talks of hospitalizations going up as you go certain places. You're seeing more. Well, you're not seeing more masks, but some people are masking up in the gym, on the metro, places of worship, and grocery stores. Some people are masking up. Not everybody is. I haven't really started seriously masking up because until it gets mandated that you have to do it, I probably won't seriously do it unless I have to. Okay, so let me jump into this. This is entitled, "Is Masking Coming Back?" As the new variants emerge, here's what experts say. Again, I am intentionally omitting certain words because I don't know if YouTube will snatch this down, or if they don't like it, if they don't want me talking about this at all. And at one point, my channel was removed, and YouTube graciously put it back up. Okay, so this is from Sarah Manuisuko, and this was published a couple of weeks ago. Let me close. Okay, close them down. As the 3 new variants are spreading across the country, many people are wondering, are masks coming back? While the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have not announced new mask mandates, some schools and businesses are reinstating this familiar pandemic era rule. And depending on your situation, experts say you may want to consider it too. So, and this was a highly contentious thing. I mean, there were people during the World Health Crisis who were ready to fight over having to wear masks. I mean, this was even before the immunizations were created and approved and released. People were ready to fight over masks. People were ready to fight over having to wear masks, and people were ready to fight because some people would not wear the masks. So it really caused a lot of conflict and division amongst our population. People 65 plus and people who are immunocompromised should strongly consider masking during flu, RSV, and C season while in indoor public spaces, says Dr. Celine Gounder, a CBS News medical contributor and editor at large for public health at KFF Health News. And for everyone else, it all depends on what their risk tolerance is. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook says he likes to use the weather report analogy for the general public. What's the weather out today? If it's raining, you'll probably want to bring an umbrella. If you are in an area where there is an uptick in airborne respiratory infections like the bug, flu, or RSV, you may want to take extra precautions, such as wearing a high quality mask in indoor public spaces, he said. I'm going to show you guys one more thing. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Yep. YouTube is smart, man. This AI is smart. They slapped the little blue window underneath this video already. Okay. If anyone wants to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are here. So this article suggests that there's going to be a season now, a C season, a C19 season, just like there's a flu season. So keep your eyes out for that. So I'm going to show you guys one other thing. Let me pull this picture up. Why the masks? Please smash that like button. I see the views are going up. I wonder if a certain master teacher has shared this in his network. when the views spike up like that, someone in particular has usually shared the content, which I appreciate. So why the masks? Why are masks necessary? What are they trying to do with the masks? Well, it turns out that I believe the bug particle, it worked through the ACE receptor in the respiratory passage, the angiotensin converting enzyme receptor in our respiratory passage. So it was able to bind that receptor with its spike protein, and then it was able to internalize itself inside the cell so that it could hijack the machinery of those cells and it could reproduce. But it was taking place in the respiratory tract. So when people exhale, you would expect a lot of viral particles. So that's the significance of the masks. You have the infection taking place in the respiratory passage, and I believe the infections with the mutation of the particle, the events were happening at different points in the respiratory passage. But the point is, you would start to generate particles and aerosols that other people would inhale, and it would be transmitted that way. I have a lot of comments here on a Saturday morning. I appreciate that. Doug, what's going on? Thank you to everyone who keeps coming here. Okay. After C19 hospitalizations climbed nearly 22% this week, the CDC is predicting further increases over the coming months as new variants spread. This replaces previous projections from the agency that admissions would remain stable or have an uncertain trend. In 2021, in a 2021 60 Minutes interview, virologist Paul Duprex explained that the current and future emergence of new variants, a concept applicable to the current situation. Is there anything we can do to stop the virus from mutating so much? LaPook asked Duprex at the time. We certainly can stop it making as many mutations by stopping it infecting as many people. If we block its transmission, if we wear a mask, if we get immunized, if we do social distancing, Duprex said. Does any of this sound familiar, everyone? Does any of this sound familiar? After news broke about BA.2.86, after news broke about the BA.2.86 variant earlier this month, the CDC said the agency's advice on protecting yourself from C19, which includes wearing a high-quality mask, among other recommendations listed out on its website, remains the same. When determining whether to be especially careful, LaPook said he thinks about what he'll be doing the next 2 weeks. If I really cannot afford to get sick, I'm going to be seeing somebody who is at increased risk for a bad outcome if infected. I will take extra precautions, he said. Still, some experts fear it could be hard to convince Americans to don masks again, even if C19 cases continue to rise. Dr. Danielle Ompad, an epidemiologist at the NYU School of Global Public Health, said it's a bit like putting the genie back in the bottle. Still, she's personally started wearing a mask again recently in crowded places where the risk of exposure is greater. If I were with people who aren't public health trained, I would wear a mask, particularly in crowded situations, because I really don't have time for C-19. Mask mandates are challenging because they make people really bent, out of shape, out of proportion to the ask. On CBS Mornings Friday, Gounder added she'll be masking up for an upcoming flight and says others may want to do the same. Who wants to get sick while on vacation, she says. If you're going to be in a crowded public place, the subway or an airplane, a crowded theater, those are the kind of places I would at least consider wearing a mask. Okay, we're just about at the end here. And I know that for my current 9 to 5, I know that my my supervisor, I think she, recently over the last 2 weeks, she had to take care of her family during the week because someone in her house got it, and they approached it by distancing and quarantining, I think, themselves in individual rooms. I think her husband might have had it. Man of Tomorrow has showed up in the chat. What's going on, Man of Tomorrow? Man of Tomorrow's here. It's Country Girl Queen, and she says, winter season, it will get worse. Aquateki says, that's a lot of ifs for some people to abide by. Man of Tomorrow says, all the people I know who got it this time, none of them died. Telling Stewart says, makes me wonder how many prophets would wear a mask. Go Professor. Thank you for stopping through. He says, like button pressed on the way in. What's happening, family? Man of Tomorrow says, they are forcing us to wear one. Procter & Gamble, J.M. Smucker so far requires a mask. Princess C says, happened in Florida in August. Everyone at the event ended up with C-19 and isolated. Okay, Florida. We know Florida was one of the resistant states when the health crisis was going on. So Telling Stewart says, people who are wearing masks should be good, right? What's with the need to be controlling and infringe on the rights of freedom-loving Americans? That was one of the popular sentiments when things were at its peak. But remember Telling Stewart that the mask, in a way, is a courtesy to protect everyone else, to prevent you spreading your particles to everyone else. So they may not protect you from, they will protect you in theory if the other person is wearing it, and if the other person is trying to protect you from their particles. All right. So increased cases and hospitalizations are prompting precautions. Gounder says she doesn't see another lockdown in the future. That ship has sailed for years now. So we are, according to that, we are not likely to see another lockdown. And from what I heard, if our current president was in office when this whole thing took off, he would not have locked things down. So that's interesting. He would have kept, the theory is he would have kept things open. Okay. Now, what also did occur to me as I started hearing about this, and as I've started seeing stories emerge and articles emerge, and as I've started seeing that they're on the verge of approving another immunization, what's coming up next year, everyone? I mean, everybody knows what's coming up next year. what's coming up next year. We have another presidential election coming up next year. And so with another presidential election coming up, crises are arguably good. Things like this for them to debate over are arguably good. And they arguably add to the theater of politics. So as I was looking at these stories emerge, I was kind of wondering to myself, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but is there a reason this is emerging right now? Is this going to have an impact on the political season, the election season that's coming up? Is this going to play a role somehow? I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to read some comments here, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Aquateki says, wearing a mask is like using turn signals, common courtesy for the people around you. There you go. And that's why on flights and other places, people were, ready to fight. I was on an Amtrak train going to see my father, I think, or coming back. And I was sitting at my window seat and I just pulled the mask down a little bit, I think underneath my nose. And there was a woman, an older white woman, and she was on me. She was like, your mask is not all the way on. Your mask is not all the way on. And I was like, well, all right, I'll put it back on. So yeah, that was a people were fighting in the streets, well, figuratively, over having to mask. And people felt like their constitutional rights were also being trampled on because of the requirement for masks. But as Aquateki said, they're courtesies for other people. Let's see. Telling Stewart says, I'd rather be in a constitutionally conservative libertarian state than be subjected to the whims of socialist ideologies. Okay, we're going a little political here. Sheed says, then it'll have to be more expirations with people still moving around under Biden. Okay. I guess that means, I guess that's referring to his perceived willingness to keep things open and not lock down. She says, people are questioning popular control. Yep, there's a lot of, it seems, evidence of that now. Oh, wow. Country Girl, Queena, more salutes going on here. Princess C, valid question. I think you're referring to my question about the reappearance and reemergence of this at this current time. Yeah, in our modern times, you really, I don't know. I sometimes wonder, are some things orchestrated or are some things happening just by chance? Because catastrophes, things can sway public sentiment and things can sway elections. And that's one of the, regarding climate, I've taken an interest in climate, and I'm going to do some more content on the climate debate because it is a debate. There's question in that arena as to whether or not science is being manufactured, and there's question in that arena as to whether data is being manufactured, and as to whether or not politics has infiltrated that arena, and whether or not politics infiltrating that arena is being done to guide public sentiment, independent of what the science is showing. Are there instances where politics and larger agendas are infiltrating the science and then using the science and narratives to steer the masses of the people? So this is not unique to this. Okay, I'll read a few more. Opinion here. Papo Naya Shelley says masks don't work, period. Akoteki says COVID Karens. She thought that was funny. Papo Naya Shelley says, I think I'll do the old Bernie Mac coming off the train routine when fools ask me about masking up. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Qbert says, my lungs have never been the same since my immunization. Well, the other side effect, yeah, there were documented side effects in the FDA reports for all 3 of the immunizations. I think the big one was the Bell's palsy. Some people's faces froze up on one side for a period of time. Some people had fevers initially, soreness at the site, but I'm sorry to hear that. But hopefully you reported that to the authorities so that data is logged. Seeking My Creator says the resistance to masks had nothing to do with the disease and was an argument between political groups or the politically ignorant. Gold Professor says, I think the masks are good. A lot of people will have more than a C19 that they're spreading. Hot breath, ugly. Okay. Let's see. She says, watch the line. Yeah. So I better stop. Doug says myocarditis. That's right. So younger men in particular having heart complications, that's emerged as well as a side effect from these things. And going back to Bronny James, there was speculation about whether that's what caused Bronny's heart attack. Fortunately, he recovered, but certainly it was curious that such a young man from an athletic pedigree, it was curious as to how he would suffer a heart attack. So that was speculated on quite a bit. And finally, Akoteki says, I'll read this last one. J&J caught flack for the potential blood clots. Yep. That was a huge one. All right, everyone. I'm gonna wrap this up. This one, I just wanted to, well, over here I cover science topics and science news. This is a good question. How long is the testing period for immunization development? Well, the trials, that was supposed to be 2 years. So that means that the trial period should be over. And so right now, I imagine what they're doing is they're analyzing and they're collating all the data, running the statistics, and there should be an official report on them at some point, because the trial period was only supposed to be 2 years. So it'll be interesting to see what all of the final data shows. So we were all guinea pigs We were all guinea pigs. Those individuals who got immunized because these had never been used before. So that's a very good question. Seeking my creator. So the answer is 2 years. 2 years. All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap this stream up. I'm doing a double header today. Me and my brother we're late with it, but we're going to talk about the Blue Beetle movie over on my entertainment and media channel. Seeking my creator, he says, "Wait, what? What's the wait? What to? Is that to the 2 years, the 2-year trial period?" That's probably what that was towards. Most of you know that I am a writer. I'm going to breeze through this really quickly. I have a newsletter. There's a 2-paragraph greeting, and there is a you just click that like button below, and it takes you there. Please consider joining my newsletter email list. I appreciate everyone who has signed up thus far. I've already started the version for September, and I promise I won't give your information out. Yeah, and the link to that is in the description box. Yeah, so Seeking My Creator, it was 2 years, and that was in the FDA reports for all of the immunizations. Yeah, so they should be calculating the numbers and writing up the official reports right now. It takes a while, especially when you're tracking patients and you're accounting for what's the word I'm looking for? Side effects. When you're accounting for side effects and who expired and who didn't, and who reported regularly to their doctors. Yeah, there's a lot of data to calculate and collate for the companies and for the FDA. So those numbers, once they're released and they're analyzed, those numbers are going to receive a lot of scrutiny, no doubt. All right, everyone. Once again, if you want to donate something to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are here. I don't have AdSense or Super Chat yet. I suspect, well, I need something to go viral. I need one video to go viral over here. And when you look at the tags in your backstage, well, it may just be a matter of keeping track of what the trending science topics are, but I don't have AdSense or a Super Chat over here yet. So if you want to donate something, my Cash App and PayPal are here. All right, everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. If you're new, please like, share, and subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, please like and share. I appreciate the support that I continue to get. And remember, sharing this content out is very, very helpful to me. And it's very, very, I think, helpful to the masses, because our people, we have lots of examples of entertainers and athletes, politicians and clergymen and clergy women and lawyers, but we have few images of scientists and thinkers. So sharing this content out will help quite a bit. Chaos Rain is coming in at the end. There's a question here from Qbert. He says, it's been said that nattokinase, okay, I recognize kinase. I'm not familiar with nattokinase, NAC, and bromelain get rid of the spike protein. Any thoughts? I don't know anything about that. And YouTube, we're just talking here. So no one is prescribing medications or healthcare advice to anybody here. So I'm not familiar with those, Qbert, but since you asked about it, I will, yeah, I'll certainly look those up. Just take a quick look here. I want to thank Aquateki for the generous Cash App. And I want to thank Qbert Rame also for the generous Cash App. Those are much appreciated. If anyone is watching on the playback and you want to donate something to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box. All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap this up. I have some other things to do today, and it's not healthy to sit in front of computer screens in cyberspace all the time. So one of the things I want to do today is get to the gym and break a sweat and challenge my lungs and my heart so I can stay healthy and I can keep coming back to create content for you all. But hey, keep your eyes on the news. Read, study, ask questions. Just don't take what's being told to you as the gospel. Question things. Question the FDA. Question our politicians. Question our news outlets. Do your own reading. Do your own research. Listen to the other sides of arguments as well. It's important. It's important to have a balanced perspective on everything and not just believe things blindly because some world leader or some news pundit says it. Question things and do your own research. And I will attempt to keep us as informed as possible here on this channel. All right, everyone. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.